Okay, Rachel, I have 7 kids, so I can list all my kids if you would like me to.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so Sanaya Brown, and Nadia Brown, and Maya Brown, Anila Rogers, Jaden Brown, Jalea Brown, Carter, Carter, Wallace. It would have been bad if I would have forgot a child, so I'm glad you counted. Yes, so, okay, so I sit on the committee for Camp Blodgett. I sit on the Residence Engagement Committee for Dwelling Place. I also sit on the Retention Committee Board for To College Through College. I would say when I decided to become the founder of my organizations. Young Money Finances started in 2019 because there was a growing need to find financial education to support our youth. So I originally founded Young Money Finances because not only did the youth need that financial education, but my kids needed it as well. So my daughter, who I have custody of, Anila Rogers, she started to pick up on the financial education and explain it to other kids. And for me, I always had a drive and a need to really figure out how do I become the last generation that starts from scratch. So through that, I engaged with a lot of different parents through some of my work, and they all supported that need to develop something. So the birth of Young Money Finances came about in 2019 because we wanted to also provide a nonprofit that put an end to finances becoming a barrier to financial literacy. So through that, we're able to write grants and receive funds in which we can provide that education with partner organizations, especially for populations who typically don't receive that type of financial literacy education and resources. For Young Money Finances, one of the things we do is we provide Young Money Finances camps. So that's something that we put out either virtually or in person, both summer and winter camps. But then we also partner with other organizations such as Dwelling Place, Boys and Girls Club, because we want to go where their students are, but more importantly, help them highlight the need for what I call culturally responsive financial literacy education. Now, our ultimate goal is to enter the school systems, but we know that is a continuous conversation because we would love to help them engage in a fun, exciting, and safe curriculum to teach personal finance to kids. And I will say that's one of the benefits because, again, sometimes there are many different barriers such as transportation. So right now our model is going where those places are. Like for tomorrow, I have a meeting with or a workshop with WMCAT, and going into their space where they're comfortable, they're used to. It's typically a healthier model, but then it also brings about a sustainability model as well. So ensuring that if they can get the participants to their location, we'll definitely drive or whatever we have to do to be there. Yeah, so this is a great question because it stems all the way back to my experiences as a child. For me, I am one of 6 kids. My mom, she did an amazing job to raise 6 of us. But one of the things that we have conversations about today is her inability to teach us about financial management and how to grow wealth. So living in a space where it was difficult for me to afford certain things, go certain places, I always had this need and drive to figure out how to access resources. Around my freshman year in high school, I entered the foster care system, and entering that system also gave me more of a perspective on the have and have-nots, the needs that certain communities have, but also being there, I got exposed to things that I honestly wanted my kids to be able to experience. So being in the foster care system allowed me to travel to different states, which gave me different experiences. They had scholarships available. They talked to me a little bit about finances, things like that. So as I got older, I went to Kent State University and got caught in the student loan and debt trap. So having that experience and learning how to better manage my money so that I wasn't stressed all the time, I really wanted to help other communities, parents, and families avoid that experience, but more importantly, figure out how to build wealth. So my background wasn't in finances, but I had to become a teacher and a learner of the financial world to figure out how to teach finances in a non-numbers way. Because we know many communities, such as myself, were afraid of numbers. But then when it came down to it, we started to realize that it was a lot of behavior and lack of access to resources and accountability that impacted our ability to have some type of financial control and management. Yes, I have a team. So for me, when I first started, a lot of it was me. One of the things that I had to learn to do, because I was pursuing my PhD a few years ago, and then I decided to take that energy and that time to develop what I call the culture responsive financial literacy system. So that was me researching how to teach financial literacy in a fun, engaging, and inclusive way. So I did a lot of that legwork and built that foundation. So when I first started in 2019, it was just me, but I am beyond happy to say we have 8 instructors now. So we doubled our instructors in less than a year because of not only the demand of financial literacy, but the impact that we are having in communities. So on my website, you'll see under your team, there's a whole list of other individuals who may be seasoned financial literacy facilitators, but also new financial facilitators. So one I'll give a shout out to over this call is William Baker. He teaches investing. He teaches it from a fun, engaging, real way to help kids learn that there's a process of investment instead of the profit in investment. But he also teaches it from a psychological standpoint as well. So helping kids understand that there's a mental health and wellness aspect to investing. So we go as young as 10 years old, but we also teach families as well, so we can go as old as the individuals will allow. What we don't do is we don't market that we provide financial literacy to families per se, but we partner with organizations that serve families. Yes, so the number is continuously growing. I think we're probably at 2,000 plus because, again, the demand is increasing. Tomorrow night we have workshops that we're providing to Aquinas College. Then that morning we're going to WMCAT. So about about 2,000 plus individuals and families, with it consistently growing literally almost every day. Yes, so Young Money Finances is extremely community focused. In August 20th, we did a strategic planning event when we invited members of the community. We invited our board members. We invited participants from our class. We also invited our instructors to just have a conversation about some of the needs in the community that Young Money Finances could help and support. What we also did was we attended a lot of vendor events or events in the community to just have a realistic conversation about some of the things that they're experiencing. Unintentionally, what this led to was me and Young Money Finances being nominated for the Innovation Award through Linked Up. It's a Community Spirit Award, because I think the community really recognizes that we're taking this realistic, authentic approach, but we're also being innovative in our strategies of teaching financial literacy. So if you look behind me, you see like all these boxes. We've come up with these really great designs, these fun ways, these flashcards, because again, we really want finances to be fun, but also realistic and engaging. We had STEM Greenhouse showed up. We had Project Green. We had individuals from the Juvenile Detention Center show up. We had Bank of America show up. We had, sorry, I'm pulling from my lovely brain. We had, Link Up Show Up. We had, who else was in the room? I think those are some of the individuals that showed up. So I want the community to know that we are here to listen first. Again, one of our approaches is to see the community need and not assume the need. So we want to be able to analyze and listen to individuals as they talk about what some of the barriers are, because we can always have the preconceived notion that it's finances, but it can be more than finances. And we want individuals to be able to say things like that and then learn how to respond to it, because with our organization, though we teach financial education, we also take a holistic approach. So for example, we know that finances impact mental health, but we also know that mental health impacts finances. We know that job employment impacts finances, but we also know finances impact job and employment. We also know that education impacts finances, but we also know that finances impact education. So we completely understand that there is this two-way impact of financial education in these other areas. But one of the things we want to be able to do is to respond to the community specific need and not go in and teach something about, let's say, home ownership, where the individuals are not in a space where they even want to own homes. They want to first and foremost become more aware of their spending and then learn how to tell their family no, learn how to avoid student loans. So those were some of the things we wanted to do. We heard from kids as young as 9 years old, as well as adults who have long experiences, not only in the workplace, but also in Grand Rapids. Yeah, so I earned my master's in curriculum instruction, so I love piecing together ideas, activities, outcomes, objectives to get at our ultimate goal. So what we do is we build our presentations and curriculums from scratch, meaning that we have a base understanding of what we would like to get out that conversation, but it depends on what the organization sees is a need. So for example, we partner with Bridge Street Ministries. And one of the things that they really wanted to focus on was education in general, right? How to embrace and engage in education. So we help the students learn the power of education and how that impacts finances, how that impacts investing, so that, again, there's this two-way understanding of how we can accomplish our goals. My undergrad was in political science, and my master's was in the arts of teaching, specifically curriculum instruction, and pursuing my PhD in cultural foundations. Yes, so I founded 1428 Financial Wellness about 4 years ago because I started to learn more about biblical principles aligned to financial literacy that can help communities. So 1428 is named after the scripture Luke 14:28 in the Bible. So what I did there was I wanted to teach families about the overarching larger components of financial literacy, such as debt and credit management, wealth planning, some of those pieces, and that was my for-profit. Now what has happened since was I still do 1428, but for our youth, a lot of the parents are saying, can you teach my kids? Can you educate my kids? But 1428 also engages in podcasting. So I go to other businesses and talk to them about financial management. What are some of the things that your business wish that you would have learned about finances? I also have a YouTube channel through 1428 where I talk about investing and how to invest in the stock market. And then I'm working on a book that is both my personal book, but also has a lot of the history of 1428 in it because it's called, and again, I haven't launched it yet, but it's called Goal Getter. Goal standing for getting over all limitations. Not really. So that was another reason why I called it 1428, because I didn't want to press upon their religious affiliation. And other organizations that I had partnered with that asked me the same question. It was just that I've read books like The Richest Man in Babylon that helped me understand that there are biblical principles tied to financial management. But if we look at overall financial planning and management, we can strip away those scriptures to know that it's human behavior based. So when we talk about giving, when we talk about investing and saving, those things are in the Bible and aligned to scripture. But taking those away, those are still principles that we should adopt. We should invest not only in the stock market, but in our mental health or in our well-being, things like that. Yeah, so one major accomplishment with 1428 was the fact that we responded to the various needs of our community. Because again, 1428 was created before Young Money Finances. At the time, again, about 4 years ago, there was this increasing need to teach financial literacy in an engaging way. The great thing about 1428 is we have partnered with different organizations as well as banks to help have the conversation about teaching financial literacy. So I remember one of the first organizations I partnered with was ELNC, Early Neighborhood Learning Collaborative. And talking to the parents and individuals there, they had always said they had received presentations before, but they didn't feel like it was engaging. They felt like they were being talked at. They didn't feel like they were being listened to. But that's something that we wanted to change and adjust. So I would say 1428 has been responsible for changing the way in which we teach financial literacy, our approach, but also helping to be impactful in the delivery of our education and resources.